Do you or someone you know have a corporation, limited liability company, or partnership, or an entity where you file something with your Secretary of State? Did you know the government wants you to register who you are, your date of birth, your address, and your driver's license number, and all this comes into effect in just a few weeks on January 1st, 2024. It's the Corporate Transparency Act that kicks in very soon, and I've found not a lot of people are talking about it, so let's fix that. If you or a loved one owns a business, this is something you can't afford to ignore. This video is a broad overview of what you need to know, and I'll be diving deeper into specifics in future videos as more details unfold. This is because, as with all new laws, there are a lot of open questions that we just won't know the answer to until the government begins enforcing those laws. If you see this on screen, it means I'm simplifying something for the sake of the video, and it's something we plan on addressing in a later update video. But first, please be sure to hit the like button and subscribe so you know when that deeper dive eventually comes out. The Corporate Transparency Act, or CTA, is a law that was passed in 2021. The main purpose is to prevent illegal activities like money laundering and tax fraud by making business ownership more transparent. Simply put, it requires certain businesses to report who really owns and controls them. The government wants to know both because you can easily have a case where someone controls the business, but they may not be the owner of the entity itself. Let's break down who this law affects. Are you running a small business without employees like many of the 27 million non-employer firms in the US? Then you're the one who they're really worried about. The CTA mainly targets small businesses, requiring them to report specific ownership information. If your business is a corporation, certain business trusts, an LLC, or limited liability partnership registered with your local Secretary of State, then you need to file a report under the CTA. The same goes for foreign businesses registered to operate here. Essentially, if you do business in the US, you're going to have to file. But if you're a sole proprietorship, this law doesn't apply to you. By now, you're probably wondering what I mean by registering. Well, if you're a beneficial owner in an entity, then the government wants to know your name, birth date, address, driver's license number, and for you to keep them up to date so they can know what kind of business interests you may have. You're going on a secure list where your information will be kept confidential from the public, but available to law enforcement and judicial agencies with a subpoena. As a side note, they also want to know who helped you create the entity and do this registration under the CTA, which means your lawyer, CPA, or tax planner's information will also be registered and identified as the person who assisted. What that does is essentially create a web of entities connected in their system by the lawyer. And if the one over here was doing something shady, then they may take a look at the other entities the lawyer helped establish over here. So who exactly is a beneficial owner and who's going to be the keeper of this secure list? Well, the beneficial owner is anyone who either exercises substantial control of a business or owns at least 25% of it. Having two categories is designed to close any loopholes and ensure all owners are identified. The key difference is that beneficial ownership is categorized as those with ownership interests reflected through capital and profit interests in the company. So you may have an employee who you give a lot of discretion to, but if their only compensation interest is a basic salary, then they will likely be exempt from registering. The CTA requires these individuals to report their personal details to the Financial Crimes Enforcement Network of the US Treasury, or FinCEN. Again, they want your name, date of birth, your address, not the attorney's, and a valid ID or passport number, along with a picture of the darn thing, meaning they want a picture of you. The company can turn around and register these individuals, but will be responsible for keeping FinCEN up to date for any changes in information, like a change of address. Or the individual can register with FinCEN directly and simply provide a FinCEN-issued identifier that the company then reports, thus leaving the burden of keeping one's information current with FinCEN on the individual rather than the company. Again, more details in a later video, but I hope you can begin to appreciate how messy this will all be, especially when it comes to a trust owning a business or even conducting business itself. Now let's talk deadlines. If your business was created before January 1st, 2024, then you have until January 1st, 2025 to file your first report. For businesses starting in 24, the deadline is within 30 days of opening, though there's talk of this extending to 90 days, but I haven't seen that anywhere yet. Additionally, reports will need updating within 30 days of a change in the beneficial ownership of a business, such as through the sale, a merger, acquisition, or death, or 30 days upon becoming aware of or having reason to know of inaccurate information previously filed. Next, let's talk exceptions. I won't go into details here, but I have a list appearing on screen now for you to pause the video and check out. Suffice it to say, the exceptions mainly center around businesses that are already registered with some other government agency such as the SEC. Notably, minors are exempt, but a responsible party must file on their behalf and the minor must report within 30 days of turning the age of majority, typically 18. I'm sure it'll be the first thing on their mind. So why does this matter? The CTA isn't just another form to fill out. Non-compliance can lead to hefty fines of either $500 a day, or $10,000, and even imprisonment. It's crucial for keeping your business on the right side of the law. Additionally, I want to stress one point. The government is very serious about this. The CTA is a bipartisan pet project, meaning Republicans and Democrats working together. There were versions of the act floating around Congress in 2008, 2017, and 2019. Going further, the current iteration, which was nestled inside the National Defense Authorization Act for 2021, passed the House by a vote of 335 to 78 and Senate 84 to 13. Then President Trump vetoed the bill before Congress overruled his veto 322 to 87 in the House and 81 to 13 in the Senate. U.S. presidents have only issued a total of 2,589 vetoes in all of U.S. history, of which the Congress overruled the president's veto only 112 times. That's only 4%. Lastly, while the CTA primarily targets entities where there's a filing with the Secretary of State, do not be surprised if trusts become a potential target a few years down the line. Again, the whole point is to fight money laundering and shell companies. Trusts are very private since they typically aren't registered anywhere. Well, privacy is a feature. However, if people begin using trusts to hide their dirty laundry, then that may make trusts a target for some type of reporting requirement sometime in the future. Hopefully not. This overview is just the beginning. As the CTA takes shape and more guidance is issued, I'll be here to break down the specifics to you. Stay tuned for future videos where we'll delve into the finer details and what they mean for your business. But if you've made it this far, thank you very much for watching. I'm attorney Andrew Bethel, guiding you to make the best decisions for you and your loved one. Drop a comment below if you have any questions. Don't forget to like and subscribe and check out our other great videos. Stay informed. I'll see you next time.